So what is it about the MacBook Neo that makes it the perfect travel Mac? I've been using it on the train this morning, and it's the Mac that I reach for now, over and above any other device that I've got. Over my M4 iPad Pro, even when I had the MacBook Air, this feels somehow more travel friendly. Now if you look at the specs will tell you that the MacBook Air and the Mac Neo are about the same size and about the same weight, and yet this has got that magic quality to it. It's got that hypnotic quality to it. You know the way you can get a Mac that just makes you want to use it? It makes it the Mac you reach for. That's what the Neo's got. And I thought today, up in London at Canada Water and Canary Wharf, well, I've got an event to attend later on today, I thought we'd just try and find out what it is about the MacBook Neo that makes it about as near perfect as you can possibly get with a Mac. Is it just the design? Is it just the specs? I don't know. We're going to try and get to the bottom of it though. Yes, it is undeniably partly to do with the design. You'll know what I mean. If you've been a Mac user for any length of time, you'll know what I mean. There are certain Macs that just get you. My first iMac, I've still got it in the studio. That very first iMac had that X factor. And this MacBook Neo, that's got the same thing about it. There's something about this Mac that even when I'm in the studio with a brand new iMac and a brand new M4 Mac Pro Mini and my M4 iPad, I still reach for this. And I don't know what it is. I mentioned the specs on the sheets, they don't really count for anything. I've had somebody, funny enough, watching a short like part last weekend saying it's when I was holding this, it just made it look so tempting. And it does. Well, just eating lunch, the waiter just came to me and said, I can't get one. I'm on the waiting list. I really want to get one. And it's got that star quality to it. It feels just somehow like you want to get inside and use it. And a couple of weeks ago, I'll tell you something strange. I dropped it. You might have seen on one of my earlier videos. I've got a little mark on it there. And somehow, I don't mind. Somehow, it's added character to it. The thing is, today when I was coming to London, the kind of work I needed to do, which is a little bit of Lightroom work and a tiny little bit of Final Cut work, I could have done on the iPad, but somehow macOS still wins out. And the amazing thing is, this, with a phone chip in it, gets all that work done for me during the course of the day. Now, I did make a couple of mistakes when I first spoke about the MacBook Neo, saying that I regretted it didn't have a backlit keyboard and I was worried about the battery. Now the battery's been through a couple of cycles, which is so often the way. It's still at 80% today, and I've done a reasonable amount with it. And that has ceased to be an issue. I was doing that whole reviewer thing where I was trying to find issues where there were no issues. It's a great Mac. The backlit keyboard, my keyboard on the M4 Pro Mac Mini hasn't got a backlit key, isn't backlit, and I don't moan about that. This is absolutely fine, particularly when you're out today using it. And I could give you all the specs about the display, but it's a typical Apple display. You don't need me to give you the specs about it. Today's slightly overcast, and I can see it absolutely perfectly. I've got no concerns. It says it's 500 nits of brightness, but it's nothing to do with the specs on the sheet. This Mac is all about getting up and using it. Once you start to use it, I promise you, that's where you'll really begin to find what it's like to buy a MacBook Neo and use a MacBook Neo. I had the Air, and in theory, I've traded down from the MacBook Air to this, and yet I'm using this more than the MacBook Air. That used to sit on my desk. I didn't bring it out with me, whereas now when I come out, this is my go-to Mac. I don't know who it was designed for. It's certainly more than just for students and grandparents, that old cliche. You know, I like to think of myself as a reasonably hard-hitting pro, and I'm using it today all day in London. I've got an event to go to on the phones in a moment. I'm going to be in there taking notes on it. And as I said, I'm going to be editing my daily vlog on it as well. So honestly, don't be put off by the specs. Go and try it. Part of what Apple have got right with the Neo, apart from that style quality, that X factor, is they kept things nice and simple. And I mean by that, just the options you got when you purchase, the chances of getting buyer's remorse are virtually negated by the fact you haven't got that many choices to make. You've got 4 colour choices that you can choose from. 2 storage options, which is the 256 or the 512. Obviously with the 512 you get the fingerprint ID. Only 2 prices. The most you can spend is £699 and it starts at £599. When you think of what we're talking about here, full macOS running on a brand new Mac for £599, for a Mac that I've been able to bring to an event today in London at this honour event and use all day long, it's an astounding feat of accomplishment, design that they've come up with here. And it needs to be applauded. They've taken a phone chip, put it into a Mac, unlocked the full power of that phone chip and given us this. 8 gigs of RAM people are obsessing about. It's not until you get your hands on with one of these Apple Silicon Macs that you realise it's not as big of an issue as it used to be. Everything is so well optimised now, everything runs so well on the Macs. Of course it's not going to do heavy hitting creative work, but on a day like today at this honour event, it's done everything I need it to do. It's done some basic Final Cut work for my daily vlog. I'll leave a link where you can watch that and hopefully subscribe to that channel as well. but it just does everything you need it to do. So don't obsess about that 8 gigs of RAM. And also, I think that this Mac, I remember when the first Apple Silicon Macs came out, I said then that it changed everything. And it did. Apple Silicon changed everything for personal computing. This has taken it to that next level. This is another major line in the sand of what can be done, because they've taken a phone chip and put it into a Mac. And that is kind of amazing. The I/O is pretty straightforward as well. You've got those 2 ports. Don't forget they are different speeds. The one at the back nearest to the hinge is the one you want to use if you want to use a display. It supports one external display. It's the one you want to use, like today when I was doing file transfer off an SD card reader. Use that back port. It's the quick with the 2 ports. The other one really is just for charging. Think of it that way. But you've only got those 2 ports. You've got 3.5mm headphone jack if you want to use wired headphones. And I have started using wired headphones again with my iPod, by the way. There's something classic about using wired headphones. I've had enough of Bluetooth. And of course, you've got those side-facing speakers as well. The speakers are kind of okay. They will get you through if you just were playing quietly some background music or playing a podcast in the background as you're working. They would certainly work fine for that. They're not world-beating, but equally, they're not tinny. They're not poor speakers. Apple have really got on top of their audio. Their audio has always been crack, as you know, and the speakers on here are no different. I've got nothing but good to say about this Mac. It's the Mac now that it's so easy and lightweight to travel with, and there's something I can't explain to you about just how easy it is to travel with. It's in my backpack today, and I barely know it's there, and yet when I go to reach and use it, it does everything I want of it. You need to get your hands on it, I promise you. If you think it's the same as a MacBook Air, go and get your hands on one of these, and you'll see what I mean about that star quality that it's got, and quite how special it feels. And then when you start using it, that experience carries on. I was busy editing this video and something broke about the MacBook Neo. I don't mean my MacBook Neo's broken, that's absolutely fine, apart from that little chip in the corner. No, some news from Apple has broken. This thing has proven to be so popular, way exceeding their expectations. They expected to make 5 to 6 million units in the first year. They've now trying to ramp up to 10 million units. It's just proving to be popular beyond all their wildest expectations because the thing is so damn good. That's what I was saying. It's got that X factor, it's got that certain something that you want to use, and people are finding that out in their droves. I went online this morning, either of the 2 configs, 256 or 512, in any of the 4 colours, it's a 2 to 3 week lead time. These things are so popular. The basic problem was, when Apple built the Neo, Tim being Tim wanted to reap every inch of profit out of inventory. So they used the chips that were left over from the iPhone 16 Pro. The A18 Pro chip isn't there, as you know, but it's a bin chip. It's got 1 fewer GPU cores, it's got 5 as opposed to 6 that was in the iPhone. But because the Neo's proven so popular, those chips have run out. They haven't got any left at TSMC. So they've gone back, asked for more chips to be made. They were made on a 3nm technology. That's now old technology. So they're going to be newer, fresher, faster probably chips and perfect chips, which means they're going to be more expensive. Now, Apple aren't going to take the L on that. They're going to try, well, they've got a couple of options. Either they do away with the base MacBook Neo. That means then that basically the starting price in there would have just risen by £100 or dollars, because then you'd be only able to buy the 512 at the £699 or dollars mark. That's one option. The other thing they could do is leave the 256 in the lineup, but maybe just put some new colours on it to dress it up with some decent PR. Either way, it's been a victim of its own success. And this isn't only to do with the Neo. This storage issue is getting really, really serious. I don't know what's going to happen about iPhone season, if there's enough storage for all of the iPhones, but I imagine, again, it's going to be a case of first come, first serve. When it gets to the iPhone, if you see one you want, order it quickly. But reading about some of the other Macs, the Mac Mini, for instance, they've done away with the highest config of RAM now. You can only get it with 16 or 24, for instance, not the 32. It goes throughout the Mac range. Also, the M3 Mac Studio and M4 Mac Studio, there's a 9 to 10 week delay now, all because of storage and RAM. So if you're tempted, having looked at this video, about wanting to get a MacBook Neo for yourself, and honestly, they are every inch the Mac that I'm dressing up to be. You'll love it. I know you'll love it. Get on that waiting list quickly, because that list is only going to get longer. It's not going to get shorter, and Apple are aware of it as well. So I want you to be ahead of the curve. Anyway, let's get back to London and finish this video off. Today has been a perfect example of why I'm such a fan of the MacBook Neo. It's so adaptable. It does everything you want it to do. I packed my bag this morning. I barely know it's with me. And no matter whether it's emailing, surfing, train tickets, booking a meal on the way home, editing in Final Cut Pro, editing in Lightroom, it does it all, and we're doing it all with a phone chip on this, in my case, £700 MacBook Neo. one thing I forgot to mention, I actually used Apple's trade-in program when I bought this. And I know some of you are saying, why would you get rid of a MacBook Air for the MacBook Neo? Well, don't forget, it's kind of what I do. I need to stay on top of all the new releases, and it's expensive. So if you're thinking of subbing, it would be a huge help. But I used it because I said to you earlier, I just wasn't using the MacBook Air enough. I don't know why, it just didn't feel as appealing. It didn't make me want to pick it up. I didn't keep reaching for it. Whereas this, I do. And if it's got that X factor that makes you want to pick it up and use it, surely that's what it's all about. And for all of those of you saying that the MacBook Air was a better Mac, I know technically on paper it is. I'm aware of that. All I would say is go in store, pick it up, and it will wow you. I bet you it will win you over. And once you've picked it up, take it away and use it. It's the kind of Mac that once you've used it, I promise you, you will see what the fuss is about. It is the Mac for all seasons. It's the Mac for everybody. And as I said a while ago, it's another defining moment in the evolution of Mac and Apple Silicon. I can't rave about it enough. I don't know why I like it so much. I don't know why I love it so much, but I can tell you on the train going home tonight, that's going to be my lap. That's what I'm going to be using and playing with. I hope you enjoyed this video of me just talking about what the MacBook Neo is like to use on a day out in London like this. It's designed for this kind of work. It doesn't need to be sitting on a studio desk, and it's got that chip on it. I really don't care. I really don't care. It's just added more character to it. So, hope you've enjoyed this video about the Neo. I'm going to leave another one for you to watch now where I was talking about it a couple of weeks ago, and that was my first impressions of it. And since then, the love affair's only got deeper.